Hey, my name is Kenny. I'm recording a quick run through of a slide presentation that I gave to a customer about a month ago that another team member I think is wanting to use the same content to give to a customer. So I'm going to try to give some overview to the content, which I didn't have speaker notes for. So here we go. This is about how GitLab works. It's mainly meant to showcase how GitLab uses GitLab to produce software. And some of the product principles upon which we operate. So, okay, so this is the section that's about creating value in software. So the first thing I wanted to establish is like, hey, we're super prolific. If you want to be like GitLab and you want to ship a lot of value to your users at a very high clip, you follow along. But I think it's also important to remember that not every organization, can operate with such proficiency. So your mileage may vary. Okay, so first, while we are super prolific, we are not perfect. And that is meant to mean not just, hey, we make mistakes in our execution, but also we are constantly changing. And so this screenshot is an example of our product process that, at the time I was showing was updated, hours before the discussion. So meant to highlight that our product process, the way we operate, is always iterating in kind of true DevOps fashion. So the principles upon which we organize our R&D effort for delivery are organize for value delivery, iterate on performance indicators, enable responsibility via autonomy, and establishing customer intimacy. So first, with organizing for value delivery, GitLab uses the kind of Spotify squad model, two pizza product group kind of thing with 5 to 7 value creators. I was giving this presentation to developers, and I really wanted to hit home that in GitLab model, people who create value for our company, our developers, everyone else is kind of what I would call supporting cast. So, and that when we organize in that kind of 5 to 7 value creators per group, we have super crisp ownership of scope and performance indicators. Scope is not code. Scope does not mean, oh, you own this microservice and you own that microservice. It means you own the product experience, and it's kind of everything that would be required to deliver that product experience that group owns. So the example I give is any individual group might contribute across 3 to 4 different projects or code bases or services, but they own an experience and they can contribute anywhere. And also by not having code ownership boundaries, it makes it kind of well, I need to wait for another team to deliver. We're really trying to organize for value delivery, and that is both organizing around a specific piece of value that we provide to customers, and for delivery, the ability to deliver independently. The supporting casts is just in typical GitLab model. It includes an engineering manager, some SRE infra counterparts, a portion of a tech writer, a UX designer, one-to-one with engineering manager and product manager, software engineer and tests, and we assign those out by group, and UX research. We organize around performance indicators, and each function has their own performance indicators, all kind of tied towards our product performance indicators as the most critical. And in product, we use monthly active users. At GitLab, we have a single product that we sell, and each kind of group has a specific set of value of like customer-facing capabilities. And so we talk about monthly active users for those specific capabilities. And we've been very intentional about how we've organized our product performance indicators so that each group has them in the form of monthly active users or stage monthly active users. And that each group, when you use more of our products, so if more groups have more usage, that's giving value to the entire organization. As a DevOps platform, if we cover more scope of DevOps and there's more users in all of those scopes, that's a net benefit for the value received by our overall buyer, the kind of like organization buying GitLab. Other organizations other functions have their own performance indicators. MR rate is the number of MRs per developer and review time. And then some of the other ones are known DORA 4 metrics like change failure rate, mean time to resolution, etc. And I think some of these were examples. So these might not necessarily be GitLab's ones, but just meant to provide examples for that the squad should have a top level performance indicator, and in this case that's the product one, and then each function can have their own performance indicators. Okay, Okay, and responsibility and autonomy. This is really about what I mentioned before, that they're organized for delivery, that the squad is responsible for those performance indicators and empowered to move them without having to coordinate across a whole bunch of different groups. Lots of R&D organizations require really complex coordination in order to achieve tasks, and that can typically slow things down. But by optimizing for speed and proficiency and velocity, we have made it really distinct about who has responsibility and allowed those groups to ship quickly. So the anecdotes are things like internal to the teams, they're empowered to think about performance indicators. So we have groups that are discussing what is the best way for us to move and improve our monthly active user. We have shared ownership across the whole group of things like security and availability, so that product is just as responsible for security and availability as the security team or the reliability teams. We, by thinking about monthly active users, we think about what's at the top of our funnel. So a product group in, say, release might say, oh, well, I likely most of my users are going to have started with GitLab CI and then start using us for release and deployment. So they can think about users who fit a certain profile and bring them from that top of the funnel into their user funnel. That really helps us create a progression of usage across our product, with that end goal of having a complete DevOps platform that has usage across all components of that platform, giving the kind of true value of a single platform. And then this kind of docs improvements first is meant to indicate that teams oftentimes say, hey, you know what, the best way for us to get monthly active users is actually improve our docs. It's not add features, it's not do other things. It's that users are getting stuck when trying to understand our product and where to get started. So we're going to think about docs improvements first. You'll see all the images in here are French, because I was giving this talk to a French customer. And then lastly, customer intimacy. And so GitLab's transparency helps a lot here, but there's nothing more important to a product and R&D org than understanding the pain points of their users and creating value that solves those pain points. So we're transparent in the sense that we're transparent with what we plan to do, and we get reaction from that. But we're also transparent with respect to, GitLab issues in our public issue tracker means we get lots of direct input. So some of the anecdotes were about, let's see, others insights. Oh, that we oftentimes compile insights that we've learned from customer interviews or customer research and share that broadly across all product groups. So we're able to kind of consume the insights that we get from users super broadly. We have developers join customer calls regularly. I've seen product managers coordinate Zoom calls with users on GitLab's public issue tracker. And we, by shipping quickly, also recognize missteps based on feedback from users after we've shipped. Okay. So using GitLab to build GitLab, this is like meant to be not product principles of how we organize R&D and think about we're investing in our products, but more about the tactical of how we use GitLab, the products to build GitLab. So first of all, we have a shared code base, full transparency, no blockers. We document everything. Our contributor docs are the same docs that our internal developers use. So we're constantly improving both the community, the wider community developer experience, and the narrow community of our GitLab team members developer experience. But that is built for someone who's unfamiliar. It means we're building a contribution process for someone who's unfamiliar with the exact code to be able to contribute, which also helps our ability to have a kind of shared code base so that no team is blocked because they don't understand XYZ code deeply. We organize everything async. So plannings, retros, boards are all built for async. Epics and issues and designs are stored in GitLab, collaborated upon and referenced by each other. So we use those tools very directly in order to make decisions and plan work without having a bunch of synchronous meeting time in order to coordinate that. We use other tools for larger initiatives like our direction. Every product group has a direction page that says where we're headed, what's next. We use blueprints for larger architectural direction, and we're always updating our docs. Then we have this kind of concept of resource library and inner source, where there are tools that developers use that are used across groups that are developed and kind of built by individuals who are contributing to kind of create this library that helps individual developers. So things like the GDK and other tools that are kind of shared amongst the R&D org, but really improves the developer experience. We also have things like CI/CD issue templates or packages that we commonly reuse, or container images that we use in various parts of our product that are shared, transparent, have great README files for how to get started, all that kind of stuff. And then we invest in developer tooling. So that includes GDK. We have a really efficient code review tool, including starting to use our unreview. We have things like review apps to instantly get a view of what the proposed merge request would look like in a production or in a fully deployed GitLab application. We use staging environments, feature flags. We use GitLab Next, and then we have the shared templates and resources within the development org I mentioned before. And then we're always retroing. We review performance indicators monthly. We're always improving our process, and we dog food our product. This screenshot really highlights for me the "is this known" channel. So our GitLab team members are probably familiar with this channel, but it's astounding to see team members identify tweaks or problems in the application and immediately fix them. So we're always, dog fooding our own product and discovering ways where we can improve it, even tiny ways, and resolving them immediately. And then I wanted to have this call out, which is for managing for contribution. This probably is already outdated because we have this new CEO level initiative about focusing on how to manage so everyone can contribute. That's the probably better term. This was before that term was defined, but it's really about, as a manager, enforcing responsibility, transparently scaling yourself by documenting what you're doing and being able to delegate immediately if need be, communicating to inspire action, which means making sure that you're always asking questions that drive towards enabling a team member to take action, focusing on iteration so that we can take the smallest possible step, and then active reinforcement is particularly important, especially in a remote setting. So that was the content. Greg, sorry for being a little bit delayed, but hopefully that helps you prepare. And if you have questions, feel free to ask in Slack. All right, thanks.